Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be doing a first impressions of the Magic the Gathering collab that was finalized in Japan. So, generally speaking, Japan tends to get collaborations and events 2 to 3 months ahead of North America, but it sometimes is advantageous to actually look ahead and see what is coming because, well, we can save our Magic Stones accordingly if something particularly lucrative or special is coming our way. So, in the case of Magic the Gathering collab, there is a very large following in North America, so there should be a reasonably high chance we will get this collaboration. The dream is we get it at the exact same time as Japan does, but of course, again, nothing is set in stone. Maybe on the Puzzle and Dragons North America Twitch stream tonight, they'll announce this. Who knows? Again, speculations for the most part. But the purpose of this video is going to be quickly reviewing all of the cards, and if it does actually come to North America, which I do strongly believe it will, I'll do a more thorough review with a write-up, so on and so forth. So, I did not actually play Magic the Gathering growing up. I think just never did, never really got into those types of card games, and I think they're quite expensive at the same time. So that being said, I'm not going to try and pronounce anyone's name because I'm going to butcher it and make someone sad. So the first card is a wood card, and they have 4 times would attack for 1 turn as their active skill on a 10-turn cooldown. So this is kind of akin to like a Wise Dragon or a Gemstone, but it's on a shorter 10-turn cooldown. So if you need a large burst inherit on the fastest charging cooldown possible, this would be your go-to card. Most notably because, well, Gemstones I believe are 12 or 14. I can't remember. I think actually they're 14. I believe Norses are 12. Wise Dragons are something in that ballpark as well. So if you need something to quickly charge up, here is your card. Amusingly enough, they do have full bind immunity and 3 recover binds. That's kind of excessive. There are much better bind clearing options nowadays available, and in this collab itself, there's actually going to be one really exciting card as well that can clear binds. We'll get to them soon enough. Next is this red girl here. She's got 7 combo and double Ellen Lock and 2 skill boosts, so that's nothing particularly amazing. And her active skill deals damage equal to 10% of the enemy's max HP, so that would be a true gravity if the translation is correct. And that means you can actually technically execute things or push things into certain thresholds, but it's really a situation where you actually need those. And then change the left and right columns to fire. So from the Kenshin collab, there is a new dark / fire farming leader who only needs to match 5 connected red orbs. So this might be a beneficial active skill to run on those types of teams because, well, you can fully activate very quickly. You can spawn 2 columns, move the middle orb from one of the columns, you get your column of 5 there. You could probably make it an L if you want to tap into like the L awakenings on those leaders, and then you have another 5 just ready to go on the next turn. So could be situationally useful, might be beneficial to those types of teams, but it's a little hard to justify using her for most traditional players unless you're like saying playing Tiara or like a fire heavy leader. Next is this dark card here. She's got 4 Dark Rose, which is kind of like, well, Rose or Rose, not that particularly amazing. And she's got team HP in terms of Awakening, not so great. Like, these are 5-star cards, so you have to expect that they're not going to be that great for the most part. Her active skill inflicts dark damage equal to 50 times the team's dark attack to all enemies, and then change top row to dark and lock dark orbs. So that button style damage can be actually meaningful. It could potentially possibly rival, say, like other button style teams if you can find like dark co-op boostable cards to inherit her on top of. It's only a 12-turn cooldown, so it's kind of reasonable. I think it might do reasonable amounts of damage overall. I haven't done the math, but it might be a good button alternative option for some players who are missing, say, the Monster Hunter cards. Basically, they want to button through a lot of content. So it can be meaningful there. Forming Dark Rows at the top is better than the bottom because you can save Dark Orbs at the bottom and then have a new row at the top. The locking aspect is kind of odd. It's really unusual where you'd actually want to lock orbs beforehand. Like, we have orb unlocking nowadays kind of readily available, so the need to lock your specific orbs to prevent them from being changed is not quite as meaningful as it was, say, a couple of years ago. And as with any of the 5 stars, their leader skills are kind of irrelevant for the most part. And now we have, I guess, this blue card here. He's got 3 time extends, a skill boost, and a 7 combo. Awakening wise, it's obviously quite lackluster. Again, it's only a 5-star card. Active skill delays all enemies for 1 turn and lethally poisons. So that can have some meaning or merit potentially. Like, One really notable situation where this style of active skill has been useful is in Arena 4 against the Norns. You're able to delay the Norns as well as poison them, and the delay plus poison deals with their resolve very easily. So even though it's only 1 turn delay instead of the Raytheon's 2 turns, you still can do some meaningful amounts of trickery, so to speak. You can delay the Norns and then burst all your way through. If you one-shot them, the poison kills them. If you don't, they're still delayed. And yes, their turn timer will change, but at least the poison was kind of like insurance to make sure you don't get obliterated at their 1% execution attack. So kind of a situational active skill. Again, really Raytheon is kind of the king of this for the most part, and Raytheon has a weapon assist, which none of the 5-star cards in this Magic the Gathering collab have. And next we come to this light dude here. He's got 10% passive reduction to wood, water, and fire, which is kind of interesting. Like 10% passive reduction may be situationally helpful, but again, maybe hard to justify. Their active skill reduces damage taken for 3 turns. I don't know the damage amount, but guessing by the cooldown and increasing combo count by 1 for 3 turns, it's probably a small damage reduction. I'm going to guess maybe 30%. Because if you think of like Awoken Susanoo, it is, I think, is it 12 turns for 3? No, sorry, it's 12 turn cooldown, 50% reduction, 1 turn haste. So I'm guessing this is going to be weaker because you have 3 turns of +1 combo count. +1 combo count, it's really hard to say, is that really enough to overcome certain thresholds? I guess maybe if you use Yusuke and you really need to make sure those void damage penetration boards work, maybe a situationally useful active skill, but you probably want to get +2 combos to be just extra safe. Maybe the damage reduction can come in handy, but he is also light, so then there at least is some stat transfer, most notably his large amount of health. So again, probably quite situational where you'd actually be able to utilize him for the most part, but hey, it's something kind of new overall. And then there's a lot of 5-star cards actually. This one here has got triple TPA, a boost, skill boost, and skill bind resist. They removed locked orbs and changed wood, jammer, and poison to light. So, like I said, we have access to orb unlocking, and at least this active skill doesn't compete with Yusuke. The orb unlocking aspect is not that great, generally speaking, on Yusuke teams because you already have 2 orb unlockers already, so you're kind of paying extra turns on the cooldown to unlock those orbs. Yes, it does remove the hazards at the same time, so it could be situationally useful. Say you need a quicker charging active skill on a certain card. Say you're using like Cotton, for instance, and you want to inherit an active skill that can't in a dungeon where you know there's going to be hazards available on a frequent basis. This might be a reasonable active skill to inherit, but otherwise going to be a little challenging to justify just because there are higher value options out there. And I guess orb unlocking is situational overall. Now, I thought it said Shiva Dragon. It's very close, but it's not because there's an N at the very end. But they reduce enemies' defense to 0 for 1 turn, so that's something like Balboa, like 100% defense break. So that is very meaningful against spawns like the Metatrons in 3-player arena, as well as the Metatrons. But like, those Metatrons in general, we see them in the +99 dungeon that we have right now. So reducing their 20 million defense down to 0, the Jewels of Creation in Arena 4 down to 0, can help teams that do not have Guard Break. But if you do have Guard Break and you do have, say, cards that are able to deal massive amounts of damage anyways, or leader skills that hit high multipliers, the need for full defense voids has been diminished overall. And then their secondary aspect is 3 times attack for dragons for 1 turn. So you might have some value there, the defense break plus the damage boost. It all depends on the type of team you're running. In terms of their awakenings, there is some possibility you might use them as a situational sub, because 2 skill boosts is very helpful, but double Devil Killer and Machine Killer means they can deal meaningful amounts of damage, especially against Devil spawns. So right now we have Chazelle and Mito kind of being the queens of Devil Killing. So having a card with double Devil Killing is not a terrible thing overall. Like, it might give you enough potential to burst through. They are also red, so it might be more effective to face green devil spawns with this card. Again, it's all situational, but having 2 skill boosts does help bring your other active skills up a little faster. Like, one thing Mito does suffer from is only 1 skill boost. Chazelle has 2 at least, but Mito is a little lacking, so it can be harder for the rest of the team to have active skills come up. Unfortunately, fake Shiva Dragon has a longer base cooldown, so it might be harder to inherit over top of them. And now we come into the 6-star cards. So all of the 6-star cards are available to be exchanged for via the trading post or the monster exchange system. You'll have to trade in specific 6-star Godfest exclusives or the other collab cards. But one interesting point is the 6-star collab cards from Magic the Gathering can be traded in via their weapon assist evolution. And all the 6-star cards have weapon assist evolution. So this gives them tremendous value and viability moving forward because for the most part, assists are great, but weapon assists with very meaningful awakenings can make or break certain teams. So this is actually quite exciting, and it might be harder to justify exchanging them in because they're going to be doing something so unique through their weapon assist form. So the first card here has an active skill that gives you for 3 turns, double the amount of recovery, not a bad thing, and then unlock all orbs and change all orbs to wood, dark, and heal. That's a nice board changer. It has an orb unlocking aspect. It's on an 11-turn cooldown. This is quite high value. Like the Norns, like Skald, Verdandi, etc., they're on an 8-turn cooldown if I'm not mistaken. Saria is on 9 with the haste. So you're thinking you're adding orb unlocking into the mix as well as 3 turns of double healing. Not a terribly bad option overall, like in terms of active skill raw value. So it can be worth running if you're using teams that want to activate off wood, dark, and heal up at the same time. Their leader skill is 2 times health, 4 times attack for wood attribute, and then increase orb movement time by 2 seconds. So anytime you increase orb movement time, the leader skill is naturally going to be weaker to compensate for the fact that they technically save on awakenings, and at least all the awakenings in this card are actually very powerful. Now, they also have 3 times attack when attacking with wood and dark orb. So quick math tells me that is 144 times with bonus movement time and 4 times health. Not a terrible thing, but you might have some issues of healing, but that's kind of what their active skill does help justify. 144 times is not that amazing, but if you can tap into wood and or dark cards that have multiple 7 combo awakenings, it can be meaningful enough to clear certain content. And looking at this card's awakenings, they're kind of rivaling Amatsu. They've got double skill boost instead of an extra time extend, so pros and cons there. Their active skill is arguably a lot stronger because a board changer is generally better than what Amatsu does. And they still share the same double 7 combo and follow-up attack. So quite a valuable card for the most part. But I guess, again, they have an extra skill bind resist, which can be wasteful. They don't have the recover bind clear. So it's kind of pros and cons in terms of how valuable this card is. But one thing to keep in mind is that all the 6-star cards in this event have significantly lower stats compared to other events such as Monster Hunter. And that is because Monster Hunter is a 10-stone event, and this is only a 5-stone event. So you have to just keep that in mind. Like the leader skills and active skills and awakenings can be great, but the base stats can be lower, which can put strains on certain teams when you're pushing through new content where every little bit of health and recovery matters. And then this card's weapon assist evolution gives you a skill boost, which is huge. Like skill boost, being able to inherit a skill boost is amazing because when you're basically playing through solo content, you're generally starved for skill boosts. So a lot of challenging content is going to be requiring you to have extra skill boosts for the most part. So that's why things like, say, Orpharians with their super awakenings and their low base cooldown have become quite popular. They can get 4 skill boosts. If you can stick on another one, they could have 5 possibly useful active. Like the point is, like, you can be creative in how you can actually utilize these extra skill boosts from this weapon assist. So it's quite a nice way to do so. And then now we come to this girl here. And she is going to be probably one of the biggest prizes in this event because she can rival Diablos in terms of leader skill potential. So Diablos, for the most part, is one of the most supreme leaders at this point in time because he gives you a 7x6 board, damage reduction, and an easy-to-activate multiplier and damage reduction at the same time, which I just said. So he's great overall, but he does have some shortcomings. Most notably, Diablos' base active skill is quite weak. It's a very long cooldown, so you're very unlikely to actually charge it up in any reasonable time. And then if you want to inherit something over top of it, it's not going to be that helpful. So you've got a lackluster base active, an incredibly long cooldown. So that is his kind of largest drawback overall. But this card here kind of changes everything. So before I jump in a little bit further, I want to explain why Odin Dragon is one of the most popular and in-demand subs at this point in time. Because Odin Dragon has the best bind clearing capabilities. He has a healing aspect, he has haste, but he also has a 7 combo, and he has beefy stats for the most part. This girl here is basically what would happen if Diablos and Odin Dragon had a baby and pooped out her blue-red girl. She is the one, basically, because she basically almost mimics Diablos' leader skill with Odin Dragon's active skill. And it's only a 9-turn cooldown. So this is shorter than Odin Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. So this is pretty ridiculous for the most part, if I'm not mistaken. Or Odin Dragon 9, I don't know. But this is pretty incredible. Like, you want to use her as a leader, and you just basically saved yourself an entire subslot. You don't have to run Odin Dragon. And Odin Dragon is nice, But he does have lesser awakenings overall. Like, he does have big stats, but his awakenings may or may not necessarily be what you actually want in a card. So she's solving the problem of needing to have Odin Dragon as well as acting as an incredible leader. So her active skills recover 50% of a team's total health, remove all bind and awoken bind stats, as well as giving haste for 1 turn. So amazing value active. And let's say hypothetically you did not need the active for the certain dungeon, you can easily inherit something over top of her because she only has a 9-turn cooldown. So you basically just solved a lot of problems that Diablo's teams run into, most notably the fact that his active skill is terrible. And then her leader skill is actually a higher multiplier than Diablo's. It's 3 times attack when fire and water are matched. So you have to match both colors, which is the biggest drawback. And then 3 times attack and slight damage reduction when 8+ combos are matched. So the same combo requirement as Diablo's, but you have to have specific colors. And those specific colors can be a little bit of a drawback, or the biggest drawback, because it can restrict the types of teams you can use. So the types of teams that you're going to be unable to utilize, or more so the types of subs you're going to not be able to utilize well, are void damage penetration, because Red's best void damage penetration card, I'd say, is Ilmina, but Ilmina's base active will prevent activation. You'll need to use something like, what's it called? Mori Montanari, who gives you a bi-elemental board of water and fire, which is what you need to activate. So then you can make the void damage penetration box of red be on your happy little way. But then for blue, there's really no good void damage penetration blue cards available in the terms of ones that have like killers or 7 combos. So you're going to be kind of a little struggling to find those solutions for the most part. And that is one advantage Diablos does have, because Diablos just needs to hit 8 combos. They don't have to have red or blue, so there is the chance of being orb trolled. So you can't use great subs as effectively like Yusuke, or even possibly off-color cards. Like, yes, you could use things like Yuna, Yusuke, but they may not be contributing as much damage as you'd be hoping because it's only a blue sub-attribute, and when you're using those board changes, they're contributing less damage overall. Yes, you can still run teams like Enra and like cards like Enra's and Amatsu's, but again, not everyone necessarily has those cards available. Now, in terms of her awakenings, she has full bind immunity, which is kind of standard. She's got 3 skill boosts, and that again solves a lot of problems that Diablo's teams have because they tend to be lower on skill boosts. Skill bind is just natural, 2 time extends, but then she has this 10 combo awakening. And 10 combos is very challenging on a 6x5 board. You have to get Skyfalls or a perfect board distribution to hit 10. But on 7x6, you're almost always going to hit 10. And 10 combos will unleash 5 times personal damage. So she's hitting significantly harder than Diablos. But the big drawback of her is her weighted stats are abysmal by comparison. And another thing you have to keep in mind is Diablos has guard break. For the situations where you need to pierce through certain defenses, Diablos may be a better choice for certain dungeons. But again, you can use this girl as a sub. Like, there's nothing saying that you can't use her as a sub because she has Odin Dragons active, as well as big damage from 10 combo awakening. So, incredible leader, incredible sub, a glorious card overall. But wait, it gets better because she has an amazing assist evolution. And her assist evolution gives you a time extend, which can be nice, 500 or whatever, 1,000 more health from that awakening, but it gives a cloud resist. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the only cloud resist weapon assist you can transfer over. And these are active in all forms, like solo mode as well as co-op. So these assist evolutions are incredibly valuable. And the fact that you can get cloud resist can make a big difference when you're playing through certain content. So to a certain extent, you probably want to get 2 of her. 1 for the weapon assist, for the time extend and cloud resist, as well as the leader or sub potential. So she can reduce the need to actually have Odin Dragon. So you can stick her weapon assist on basically any card that's bind immune for particular teams if you want that cloud resist, and a great bind clearing option. So an amazing card overall. Maybe even stick it on Odin Dragon, who knows, or on herself. Like, you get the idea that you can be creative, and this is quite an exciting and powerful card. Unfortunately, it's really hard to live up to that hype for the most part, so everything's going to seem a little less sexy for the most part. So this card here voids all damage taken for 1 turn and then 2 turns haste. So you can almost create a system with a full team of 6. Almost. But the base cooldown is just a little bit too long. You're not able to be fully damage immune forever. But that's kind of a strange team for the most part. But hey, it might work for some players. But then you do have to keep in mind that you only have 1 skill boost per card. So it might be hard to bring them up. So making this kind of weird full immunity system is kind of weird for the most part, because even in co-op you'll only have 10 skill boosts. You'll have to dance around for 8 turns, more actually in co-op, because the subs won't charge up as fast. I guess with haste you can bring them up, but the point of the matter is it's not feasible to make a fully immune team, but even with double leaders, it's not a bad option. Like, you have full damage immunity. But their leader skill is actually quite exciting. They have no Skyfalls, and they do 2.5 times attack and slight damage reduction when hitting 5+ combos. So you can always hit 5+ combos. I believe it's going to be about 25% damage reduction, so it's going to be a meaningful amount of damage reduction. I think it's like 43.75%. So that's a very high effective amount of health because you always can make 5 combos. Like, if you can't make 5 combos, you should not be playing this leader. And then you gain a very fast, rapid scaling multiplier based on the number of orbs left over, up to 12 times. So double leaders is 30 times, or 30 times each, or 900 times damage when fully activated. So that rivals double Anubis with a much easier activation clause because it's a scaling multiplier. So I'm going to presume you have to match all 30 orbs for the 900 times multiplier, which can be done pretty much from any given board, provided you don't have like sets of 2s or 1s, because you can blow up your combos. Remember, you only have to hit 5, but you're probably going to want to hit more anyways, just because it'd be more convenient. So for players who play Amen or Kaede, this might be a very easy leader skill to capitalize upon because, well, it may feel familiar, and you have a huge amount of damage, and she much easier to activate than Kaede for the damage reduction component. Kaede's maximum multiplier is probably easier to hit overall, but this card here is probably much safer and consistent overall, but their biggest drawback is the fact that they are not bind immune. And being vulnerable to binds is a big drawback for a viable leader, and that can be sad. But one interesting thing is they do have 5 TPAs as well as a very high base attack, so they actually will hit for explosive amounts of damage, and you should be able to TPA for this leader because technically you're blobbing combos anyways. You're not going for the 8 or 9 combo boards, you're going for kind of more blob oriented, so hitting 4s may not be out of the question to deal massive amounts of damage. So quite an exciting card overall. And their weapon assist gives full bind immunity, so look at that. So you inherit the weapon assist on the card, and boom, you got a bind immune leader, great stat transfer, as well as a bit of Dark Orb enhancement as well as attack. But the point of the matter is you can make him fully bind immune. It's like these weapon assists were made for themselves. Surprise, surprise. And next we come to Karn. I think I can say that name. It's only 4 letters. Their active skill is full health recovery. Change all orbs to light, heal, and jammer. And then their leader skill is 3 times attack and slight damage reduction with 4+ connected jammers. 4 times attack and slight damage reduction when 2+ jammer combos are matched. So you need to have 7 jammer orbs for full activation, which is only 144 times. That seems like a lot of effort for the most part, but he may be good on, like, say, Fenrir Viz teams. You have Jormungandr, like yellow Jormungandr. Like, there's some jammer orb making cards in this game, but I really wouldn't be too happy about playing a jammer-based team personally, but some people truly enjoy it, and that's their jam. They're allowed to do that, but Karn may actually be an incredible light-based sub for teams that can activate just on combos alone, and most notably, Edward. So, unlike Yusuke, Edward can activate basically just hitting 6 combos, doesn't need any specific colors. So making a full board of light, heal, and jammers, provided you get at least a modest amount of light orbs, you can combo the whole board up, hit 7+ combos, unleash explosive amounts of damage. But that full heal is great for Edward teams because that's another solution for when you get low health because of whatever reason. So Karn is going to be an amazing Edward sub with his double skill boost, which does help Edward teams because Edwards only have 1 skill boost each. He has triple 7 combos, so it's going to be kind of similar to Ideal. Ideal has much better stats overall and probably a better card for the most part, but it's an alternative to players who don't have Ideal in terms of massive amounts of damage output. So an incredibly powerful card, but a big drawback is like the 13 base recovery, which is pretty insignificant. So Edward teams might find themselves struggling to heal up a bit more, but hey, it's another full, well, in this case, it's a full health heal, unlike Edward's partial health heal. And their assist evolution gives you 2 light rows, 3 poison resist, and health. So this is kind of like Raytheon's style weapon assist, and Raytheon gives same 3 poison resist, but Raytheon is a 5-star Monster Hunter card versus a 6-star Collab card, where you probably want to use in their base form because they actually make quite a powerful sub and a nichely situational leader. So even if we do the math that Raytheon is a 10-stone event, the odds of getting Raytheon are going to be significantly higher because I can guesstimate that the odds of a 6-star being rolled are probably 2 to 2.5%. Raytheon is probably closer to like 7 or 8. So even factoring in the, maybe even higher for Raytheon, I don't even know. But even factoring the double stone cost, it's going to be much easier to get Raytheon than Karn. And yeah, it's just the way it's going to be. So Great card overall. And there are some dungeon drops. What does this do? Increase poison scuff. Oh gosh, Hell would be happy like years ago. 3, yeah, Hell would love that. Yeah, I don't like poison orbs personally. They got machine and evolution material, I think that is. My eyesight's not the greatest. I feel it's more of a meme, but hey, it's a 3-turn based cooldown, and it might be situationally useful if you somehow find an encounter of those 2 types. I don't think you can, actually. Cool card. Sure, why not? This is kind of a trolley card, in all honesty. It's a dungeon drop that will give you an assist evolution. It gives you 1 to 3 turns of haste, randomly. So let's say your team needed 2 turns of haste. You'll roll 1 every time. You're 1 turn away. You'll roll 3 every time. Like, I don't think a haste weapon assist inherit is that great overall, and giving orb enhances can ruin damage control calculations, so I don't think this is going to be used. Like, the 6-star cards are far better, and as you can see, like, the evolutions are just general evolutions for the most part, like nothing too extreme for the most part. So in conclusion, the Magic the Gathering collab has incredible value at the 6-star. The 5-stars are not so great, unfortunately. They don't even have a weapon assist, but that's kind of expected because it is a 5-stone event. If it was a 6-stone event, probably all the cards would have weapon assist. Every card would be buffed up a little higher for stats, but for the most part, in terms of 5-star events, every 6-star basically has value, and the weapon assists are going to be doing something incredible. Like, just to recap, you have a skill boost weapon assist, you have a cloud resist plus time extend, you have full bind immunity, you can also have triple poison resist, which is kind of Raytheon for the most part. But the point of the matter is the 6-star cards are great and powerful. So let me know what you think about the Magic the Gathering collab in the comments below. Do you think it's going to come to North America? I think it's going to come to North America. And if so, what cards do you hope you roll, and which ones do you think are thematically fitting for the lore for the Magic the Gathering universe, as well as which ones do you hope to actually roll? Hopefully you all have a Mantastic day. I wish you all the best of luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.